Welcome and good afternoon. Thank you all for joining to attend our Unlocking Success with 6 GHz Solutions, Key Features and Strategies for the Canadian Market with Cambium Networks and TCOR Solutions. Here to present from Cambium is their Regional Sales Manager, Sergiu Albu, and TCOR's Technical Solutions Sales Director, Victor Suprani. If anyone has any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to add them into the chat and they will be addressed at the end of the webinar. Victor, you are up.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for the warm introduction. As Dawn mentioned, my name is Victor Suprani. I am the Technical Solutions Sales Director at TCOR. It is my pleasure to have everybody join us today for this webinar. Before we begin, for those that are not familiar with TCOR Solutions and Winncom Technologies, I would like to provide a brief overview of both companies. Winncom Technologies has been a leading global supplier of cutting-edge solutions for nearly 30 years, and TCOR Solutions is the business development and sales representation of Winncom here in Canada. We provide a wide range of services, including engineering and plant design, staging and development, broadband solution, warehouse and logistics. We provide we carry a wide range of product portfolio, allowing us to deliver tailored solutions to meet diverse needs. Today, we are excited to showcase the latest innovation from Cambium Networks, and to take us through this presentation, I'm pleased to introduce you to Sergiu Albu, Regional Sales Manager at Cambium Networks. Sergiu, you're up.
Great, thank you very much, Victor. Appreciate everybody attending, and I look forward to questions and concerns at the end of this presentation. But just like Victor said, my name is Sergiu Albu. I am a Regional Sales Manager with Cambium Networks. I've been in the industry for 15+ years. Main focus has been on the broadband, so I look forward to working with some of you guys that I have not in the past, and to introduce you to some of our latest platforms and some of the latest frequencies available in North America. Main focus on Canada today. Those of you guys that are not familiar with Cambium Networks, we are a company that came from the old Motorola Solutions. We were the broadband division of Motorola Solutions, and spun into what is today Cambium Networks. We are a publicly traded company, so we have come a long way in the 14-15-year journey we've been around. We're a global company with and sell products throughout the world in every continent. So very, very diverse reach, and with a very, very broad portfolio. As you can see in this slide, we like to refer to our network as a one network. That meaning we offer all all products needed in the ecosystem to run a successful network, from point to point, licensed and unlicensed, to point to multi-point, including fiber, then Wi-Fi products, switching, and all managed by one NMS called the CN Maestro. Of course, we have some other products that we sell along with the hardware as well, which we will cover a little bit here today. But just to kind of go into what we're doing today. So today our main focus is gonna be on unlicensed point to multi-point, with the main focus on 6 GHz. 6 GHz is something that was just brought to the market at the beginning of 2024. So it's definitely very green. A lot of people are starting to do some testing with it, but now we're starting to see a huge uptick in the technology and in using the 6 GHz spectrum, and we will go through the reasons why. Some of the tools we'll talk about is some of our planning tools, such as Link Planner, some of our heat mapping tools as CN Heat, and so on and so forth. And we will obviously talk about why you guys should be using our product and the benefits and the return on investment, and so on and so forth. So latest information on 6 GHz. For those of you guys that are not familiar with 6 GHz, Canada was actually the first ones to open it, and then the US followed shortly after that. So what spectrum is available? So Obviously, as you can see in this chart, there's actually 950 megahertz of spectrum, which I'll cover in the next slide. But to kind of give you an idea, it's obviously you have the unlicensed 5 gigahertz and then 6 gigahertz was open. And you can see it here for Canada, where you have 950 megahertz. So pretty much the whole 6 gigahertz band is available in Canada, you know, from the upper 5 to the high 6 as well. So this is all a greenfield spectrum, right? In the past, this spectrum was always used just for licensed microwave, so for point-to-point shots, and obviously the spectrum usage was minimal. So the FCC and the Industry of Canada decided that it would be a good idea to open it to some multi-point usage to be able to offer much higher capacity than we've been able to in the past because of obviously lack of spectrum. Some of the things that that you will see from our products are you know, very high capacity point to multi-point access points and subscriber modules. These platforms that we'll talk about today will get you into that range of being able to compete with fiber with the wireless technology. The one thing that we need to mention before we get into before we get into more detail is the AFC is a huge component of 6 gigahertz. So in order to protect the incumbents, the AFC was created to make sure that all the multi-point devices that are put online do not interfere with existing point-to-point licensed microwave links. So the way you have to do it is depending on the location of your tower, then the AFC will see if there is any spectrum available, which obviously this would be 950 megahertz in Canada and 850 megahertz in the US. You're gonna find open channels, and depending on what's in the vicinity, you will get a grant from the AFC to operate at the power allowed and away from the incumbent licensed microwave that already exists in the area. So the AFC is a huge component to this. Now, the good news is the AFC doesn't require, it's free of charge, so there's no cost associated with it, allowing you to operate a 6 gigahertz band as an unlicensed band. However, Industry of Canada and the FCC want to know what is, you know, what is getting deployed and where it's getting deployed, just to kind of make sure that you know, the incumbents and the licensed microwave gets the first dibs at the spectrum, since that is a paid service. Like I mentioned, Canada went first. The AFC is supported. We support Qualcomm on the AFC side through our CN Maestro. Again, there's no charge to operate it. There's no charge for our CN Maestro. So you just download it and you know, download the NMS and then operate all the products that you know, that you will use in 6 gigahertz through our CN Maestro, and that's how we will do the connection with the AFC. The way it works is you are required to have a GPS module at every device. So every radio that's being deployed has to have a GPS module in order for the AFC to know its location and to make sure that that location doesn't move. The devices are pinged once in the morning and once at night daily, so twice a day, to make sure that the location hasn't changed as you know, as you are using the 6 gigahertz spectrum. Okay, this is kind of this QR code kind of takes you to all our spec sheets of all our products that we offer in 6 gigahertz. So it's an easy way to go check out some of the cut sheets of all the different products that we'll cover today and that we'll talk about. So the EPMP platform, which is the first platform we will cover, this is our standards-based chipset platform. It's our 802.11 chipset, you know, which obviously allows you to keep the cost very low while performance is still really good. The latest chipset, so this is our 4th generation, it's EPMP 4000. So this platform supports the AX chipset, so the 802.11 AX chipset. Obviously, DAX is the latest technology that is available today in mass production, and it brings many benefits such as very large channels up to 160 megahertz, high modulation up to 4096 QAM, 8x8 multi-user MIMO, so on and so forth, allowing you to be in that upper 4 gigabits of capacity per sector, and of course much better with scalability and interference, and of course low TCO, which is at the end of the day for everybody, it's you want to make sure that your investment is protected and you do it at the lowest possible dollar amount or monetary amount that you can. EPMP 4000, like I mentioned, so there's two separate product lines on the EPMP. There's a 5 gigahertz and then a 6 gigahertz, different hardware for each. The 5 gigahertz is an 8x8 multi-user MIMO access point, supports up to 1024 QAM and 80 megahertz channels. And then 6 gigahertz, where there's a lot more spectrum available. We have a 4x4 multi-user MIMO access point that supports, like I mentioned, the whole 6 gigahertz band and can support up to 4096 QAM and 160 megahertz channels. While I know a lot of you guys are going to say, well, we're used to 5 gigahertz, we can barely find a 40. We would never really find an 80 unless I'm extremely remote. How am I going to find 160 megahertz? Like I mentioned before, there's a 950 megahertz of spectrum. It's going to be a lot easier. It's about, more than double of what you are using today in 5 gigahertz. So it is definitely much easier to find a large channel and operate a larger channel to achieve that the high capacity. And then we'll talk about our deployments, frequency reuse, all those things allow you to be still spectral efficient while you can get high capacity to each subscriber module. So the 4600, it's shipping. Obviously today it's been shipping for us. Actually, we're going on almost 2 years that we've been shipping the product in large quantities. We initially, when the spectrum wasn't available, we had a lot of POCs, especially in the United States, probably over 200 POCs where people could apply for an experimental license, test the equipment. So when the spectrum was released at the beginning of last year, everybody could deploy in mass quantities and already knew the product and were used to its capabilities and scalability and performance it could provide in their network. Like I mentioned, each access point can do up to 4 gigabits per sector, depending on the density. It's a 4x4 multi-user MIMO access point, meaning it can combine up to 2 subscribers and communicate with them simultaneously. The channel sizes you could use, it's either 20, 40, 80, or 160. We are seeing people today using 80 with no problem, in many cases, even using 160 megahertz channels. And up to 4096 QAM modulation, allowing you to get into that 2.5 gigabits to an individual subscriber, which is huge capacity, like I mentioned before, allowing you to compete with fiber-like speeds in the market, depending on what your business is. Again, the software roadmap is AFC support today, TDD sync available today, and then you could do all the planning in Link Planner, which is a free software product that we offer at Cambium Networks, and it's available for anybody, like I mentioned, at no cost. To kind of dig deep into what the product portfolio is, so we have, if you look on the right, we have EPMP 4600 and 4600L. Those are the 2 access points we offer. The 4600 is the 4x4 access point that we discussed. The 4600L also stands for light. That is just a 2x2, so it's a smaller access point. It's what we use in our micropop type of deployment. So if you're only going to get a handful of customers, you don't want to invest in a full access point. It saves you a few bucks, and then 4600L would be a perfect solution for that. Then the EPMP 4600, that's our full access point, right? That's what you're going to do in most of your deployments. It's a connectorized version, but it's a very, very nice setup. It goes on the back of the antenna, almost looking like an integrated access point. And then that's what you're going to see on most towers at high elevations to support longer distances and a much larger customer base for each sector. These sectors can be deployed still in AB frequency reuse mode, which meaning the radios that are back-to-back support the same frequency. So if you're deploying 4 access points to cover 360 degrees, you only need two channels in order to support 4 access points. So the back-to-back APs again use the same channel. Then you have the subscriber modules. I'm sorry, and I forgot to mention also GPS sync, right? You always want to synchronize all your towers and all your access points in your network that are nearby to eliminate self-interference. These radios support GPS synchronization as well. And as many of you guys know, Cambium is second to none when it comes to synchronizing your network to eliminate self-interference. Then on the subscriber module side, we only offer 2 subscriber modules, which is a 4625. This is our integrated 25 dBi subscriber module. This subscriber module is going to be the module that's going to give you the longest distance, and it's also the most cost-efficient device that you're going to probably deploy the most of, and it supports to over a gigabit in throughput at the highest modulation and the largest channel. And then we have the Force 4600 C. The C stands for connectorized. It's obviously a connectorized device that you can add your own antenna and do maybe longer distances, have a better link budget. And also this access point, the subscriber module also supports up to 4096 QAM. The 4625 only does 1024 QAM. We did that in order to keep the cost down. The 4600 connectorized is going to be more expensive, but it's going to do higher throughput for you. So if you have businesses in the area, or you need higher capacity at some of your locations, the 4600C would be the solution to go with that. Our subscriber module, as some of you guys are already familiar, can also operate in point-to-point. So all you need to do is just configure it in the interface as a point-to-point link, and then you can have a master and a slave, and you can create a point-to-point shot for long distances. That's also where we see the 4600C be very popular, because you could put larger antennas, create longer shots for point-to-point links at a fraction of the cost that you would do for a licensed microwave link, for a point-to-point solution. So we see a lot of point-to-point shots using the subscriber modules, Force 4600C, mainly in the market today. So these are the products that are available today in the ePMP 4000 6 gigahertz group. To give you guys kind of some real world field trials, this is, as you can see, this was done, I believe, in Texas, and you can see the different distance and the capacity achieved. So at half a mile, talking about a gig and a half down, almost a gig up. At less than that, very similar performance, assuming that's probably with a few obstructions in the way. And then again, we have another one that's over half a mile at similar capacities, where you're getting almost 2.5 gig of actual throughput. And this was done with a 4600C that supports the high modulation. So at short distances where you could achieve that 4096 QAM modulation on a 160 megahertz channel, you could achieve over 2 gigabits in capacity, which is pretty amazing for the wireless world, at a very, very low cost with this platform, with ePMP 4000. And then you can see some of the longer shots where you might drop in modulation a little bit, so you might lose a little bit of capacity, but still 1.5 miles, 2 miles, you're still getting over a gigabit of full throughput, almost 2 at 1.5 miles, and almost 1.3 at 1.3, 1.4 at a little over 2 miles. So again, performance is amazing. 6 gigahertz is allowing us to get into that gigabit and multiple gigabit offering for your business, just so you can be competitive, and obviously a fraction of the cost of what fiber might cost you, or even a licensing for a point-to-point shot at extremely high capacity. This kind of gives you a visual, pictures speak a million words, and it shows you, we perform fairly well with sound voltage. Obviously, we're not a no line of sight. In some cases, it could be a near line of sight platform, but if it's close enough, then we can get some really, really good performance. And also, of course, this is what we discussed about earlier, the financial portion of it. So if you're looking at a light sector where you have 10 subscribers, you know, you're probably all in at about $370 for the connection between the access point and the subscriber. This is taken into consideration the cost of the subscriber and a tenth of the cost of the AP. So for that link, you're about, you know, $370. And obviously, as you grow and that sector becomes medium or very dense, you know, from 20 to or 100, that cost per connection drops. And obviously, as you very well know, those of you guys that operate other hardware, you know that, you know, the costs are much higher in with other products than they are with our ePMP platform, allowing us to keep the cost down because of the standards-based chipset and the way we built the hardware to be performant while very, very cost effective. We also discussed, you know, for some of the longer shots, some of the maybe even more near line of sight, maybe some no line of sight in some cases, it's where 5 gigahertz is still a very valuable product to use. So the 4500 iteration of it. So this is completely separate hardware. And that's why obviously we have a few more products. We have if you look at towards the right, we have a ePMP 4500. That's the 8x8 integrated access point, obviously allowing it to communicate with up to 4 separate subscribers simultaneously. Then we have a connectorized version. A lot of people love to put their own antennas. Horns are very popular. The ePMP 4500C is just a connectorized version of that, allowing you to put any antennas you would like on it. And then a light version, which is again a 2x2, the 4500L, which is a 2x2 version. I won't cover the 4525L that is not available in North America, so that's only available in the rest of the world. However, we have the 4525, which is the integrated subscriber module. Again, this is going to be the most popular subscriber module available on the market due to cost. And then you will have a Force 400C, which is a connectorized version of the radio, again, used for either a subscriber or a point-to-point shot. The Force 425, it's our older, it's always the first generation that we had in the AX chipset. It's still available today. A lot of people like to use it for point-to-point, not as much for subscriber modules, but it would work as a subscriber module as well. But you know, keep it at the 4525 integrated SM, and then if you need a connectorized, then the 400C connectorized would be a valuable option. A lot of people, you're going to say, okay, but why wouldn't I just use 6 gigahertz all the time? With 6 gigahertz, the one limitation you have is you are limited to 36 dBm of EIRP at the access point and the subscriber. So this, obviously, you're limited to the distance because of that. In 5 gigahertz, you're only limited at 36 dBm of EIRP at the access point. Subscriber module can have any gain. So because of that, you can add a larger antenna. 5 gigahertz being a lower frequency, you usually get much better distance, not much better, but better distance out of 5 gigahertz than you would out of 6. Now, again, it's not uncommon for us to see deployments in 6 gigahertz today, anywhere from 2 to 5, 6 miles. You know, it just depends on what kind of capacity you want to offer. If you want to offer those gigabit packages, then you obviously have to keep the distance a little shorter, much longer than anything that's been available on the market until today at that kind of capacity anyway. So you're already ahead of the game because of 6 gigahertz. It just depends on what your business model is and how far your customers are from your main location. This is kind of field results again. This shows you really good penetration through near, in this case, almost no line of sight at a longer distance. So again, it is extremely important to know that if you do have tough terrain, 5 gigahertz is still a very, very valid option. And with the new product being much more sustainable to interference, you know, that also helps with some of the, you know, interference mitigation that the AX chipset offers as a standards chipset. So you are in a much better situation if terrain is tough with 5 gigahertz with a 4500 than you would be with 6 gigahertz, which requires a little better line of sight. Kind of shifting gears now, and we'll take questions like Don mentioned about the EPMP platform afterwards. The other platform that Cambium offers in 6 gigahertz is the 450V. So it's our next generation. It's what we also call Canopy 5. It's the 5th generation of the Canopy platform, the initial PMP 100 that grew to 400, 450, and then now we are at the 5th generation of that point to multi-point 450 platform. This is a little more robust, as you can tell. So this covers one access point, actually covers, and subscriber modules, covers the full 5 and 6 gigahertz band. So one unit, it's not different SKUs like it is in EPMP. It's one SKU that supports both bands, 5 and 6 gigahertz. And it's also backwards compatible with everything that we have already deployed in the field. So if you guys are already a 450 customer, deploying a 450V access point is backwards compatible with your 450 subscribers that you've deployed. Same thing with EPMP. EPMP 4000 supports EPMP 3000, so the previous generation. So anytime you invest in a Cambium product, we always have backwards and forwards compatibility with the past product and future product as well. Back to the 450V, the access point is a 4x4 access point, which it obviously, the way you can think of it is it's just 2 separate 2x2 radios in one enclosure. So it's kind of a dual carrier radio, allowing you to be robust and maybe operate. So let's say you already have an existing 450 customer base and you have a lot of 450B deployed in 5 gigahertz. You could swap the 450I access point or 450M access point that you have currently. You can swap it with the 450V. Now, and you can keep one of the radios in the 450V in the 5 gigahertz band to communicate with the existing customer base. So you don't have to do a full rip and replace. And then the other radio you could operate in 6 gigahertz in order to make it compatible with the 6 gigahertz band and have it and add new customers that you can add at much higher throughput in 6 gigahertz because of the availability of the spectrum. So it allows you to transition existing networks much easier. Or if you're a greenfield, then you can operate either both of the radios in 5 or both in 6 or 1 and 1 depending on distance. If you have some of the customers that are further, 5 gigahertz is going to operate a lot better than the closer customers that you can keep in 6 gigahertz. So it gives you the ability to transition a network to the new 450V platform, upgrade an existing network or greenfield, whatever whatever your decision is and whatever you're looking to do. On the subscriber module side, we have a 4x4 subscriber module, so that kind of the same idea as the access point. Think of it as 2 subscriber modules in the one enclosure, and then a 2x2 subscriber module. The 2x2 subscriber module is gonna be the subscriber module that you're gonna see the most. Probably supports about 700 megabits, while the 4x4 will get close to that gigabit speed. In case that is desired and you're looking to offer those types of capacity. Kind of to take you from what we've already talked about, the 450V access points, a 4x4 access point, supports the whole band. It's integrated in a 90-degree sector, so there's no connectorized version of it yet. This is what we have. It's backwards and forward compatible with existing 450 gear. Will be compatible with later generations. It's capable of doing about 1.2 to 1.5 gigabits. It's a dual sector mode capability, which we talked about, either operated in one core in 5, one core in 6 gigahertz, or both in 5, both in 6, depending on what you decide to do. And then some of the features on the actual hardware. This is the 450V 4x4 subscriber module. This is going to be the bigger in size subscriber module, but it will allow you to get close to a gigabit in capacity at the highest modulation at the largest channel sizes. The channel sizes, if I haven't mentioned, the hardware is capable of doing up to 2 by 100 megahertz channels in both the access point and the 4x4 subscriber. Today we only support up to 80 megahertz, so you can have 2 carriers of 40 megahertz each in the 4x4, and then 2 carriers in the 2x2. The 4x4 with a later firmware will support up to 3 carriers, again getting you closer to that gigabit speed per subscriber module. And last but not least is the 2x2 subscriber module. This was just released in Q4 last year, Q3 or Q4 last year. This is going to be the subscriber module that a lot of our customers are going to purchase and deploy due to cost. It's about half the cost of the 4x4 subscriber module. But this also allows you to use the 2 separate carriers and 40 megahertz, giving you speeds of about 700 megabits at very consistent performance as well. And then the ports available, as you can see, we have 1 gig main Ethernet port, and then the audio jack, which is used for a LAN and for the GPS. We're done covering hardware and the hardware that I had proposed today. Something I didn't talk about is if you guys are a fiber provider as well, we also support a GPON and XGS-PON OLT, an 8 and a 16 port. So if you have any interest in talking about fiber, please reach out to me afterwards, and we can talk about our combo PON solutions and the new platform in our ecosystem that can definitely be all used with our CN Maestro NMS under a single pane of glass. So that's the benefit of having all Cambium products. You could use CN Maestro. Again, the essentials part of CN Maestro comes at no cost, no yearly fees, no reoccurring fees or anything like that. But on top of that, we also have planning platforms, which is Link Planner, has been around for many, many years, since the Motorola days. This allows you to configure point-to-point and point-to-multipoint networks without having to invest a single dime in hardware. So it gives you an idea of what you can achieve previous to capacity-wise, distance-wise, so on and so forth. Before you purchase anything, you could switch between products once you implement the location. So it makes it extremely easy. And then it also generates a bill of materials, so you can send it to your distributor of choice, TCOR or Winncom in this case, and have a sales rep quote you and place an order. It also gives you a very, very detailed report of the whole project. So if you need to present it to your higher ups, it puts it in a very nice fashion where you could see and have everything in order, see a bill of materials, and so on and so forth. And then second is our CN Heat, which is our heat mapping service. We use LiDAR data here to create exact coverage plans, right? Where it shows you if a location is being able to be covered, and and what type of capacities can be offered at that particular location. So between Link Planner and the heat mapping service CN Heat, you could have a really, really good idea of what you can expect when you deploy a location, sectors on a tower or on a building. You can definitely know what your coverage area is and what you can expect to do in capacity and performance. Eventually, down the line, all of this will be implemented in CN Maestro. So the idea is to have CN Maestro as one centralized location where you can implement Link Planner files and the heat mapping and have everything under one hood, enabling you to have a very, very easy setup with all the softwares offered by Cambium. This is all I have for today. I appreciate everybody's attention. Don, I'm going to turn it to you. Sorry, I haven't been looking at questions. I don't know if there are any questions, but I will let you handle that, and we can absolutely discuss any concerns or any questions that the attendees have today.
Yeah, of course. We happen to have 3 questions here. I will just go down the list for you. So what is the cost per month per subscriber module for the AFC to run Cambium gear?
Okay, so there is actually no cost to run the AFC. So there's a minimal cost that Industry of Canada and the FCC charge. However, we implement that and the cost of the hardware. So when you buy the hardware, there's no cost associated moving forward after that. That is it. It's when you purchase the hardware, which is not a separate SKU, it's already included in there. So to answer your question, there's no cost to operate Cambium. There's no cost for the AFC to operate Cambium product.
Well, that's a great deal. Question number 2, what is the maximum capacity an ePMP subscriber module can provide in 6 gigahertz?
So as I mentioned before, when we were going over the product, the ePMP connectorized subscriber module, the 4600C, is the one that supports the highest modulation. The highest modulation allows you to get to about 2.5 gigabits for that subscriber. So probably I would say in a perfect condition, highest channel size, best modulation, you're looking probably at 2.5 gigabits of maximum throughput. You know, allowing you to do, like I mentioned, fiber-like capacity. So.
Okay.
So it looks like we don't have any other questions.
Yeah, actually, we have a couple more questions if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What is the process to follow with ISED/AFC for deploying 6 gigahertz ePMP?
There's actually no process. So the only thing you do is you have to use our NMS when you deploy our product. So you have to use CN Maestro, but CN Maestro connects the devices with the AFC, making you compliant to use 6 gigahertz. There's no certifications, there's no cost, there's just nothing that you need to do. You have to make sure that you operate our products using CN Maestro. CN Maestro does all the work for you.
Well, does the PTP 670 support the 6 gigahertz AFC?
It does not. So the only products today that support 6 gigahertz and the AFC are the ePMP 4600 and the 450V that we have today. And for some of you that have been paying attention to what our future roadmap is, our future roadmap will include products that will have multiple frequencies. So we're talking about an access point that will support multiple bands, as in 3, 5, and 6 gigahertz, and will be backwards compatible with both ePMP and 450V subscribers. So everything that you're deploying today will be forward compatible with the access points that we will release. So, but today the only products that support the 6 gigahertz and are AFC compliant are 4600 and 450V.
Perfect. And just one last question. What is the frequency range for the 450V?
The 450V supports all of 5 and 6 gigahertz. So all the unlicensed spectrum available for point to multipoint use in the US and Canada. So we support all of the 5 and 6 gigahertz band. And if you remember ePMP, there's separate hardware for 5, separate hardware for 6. 450V has both frequencies implemented in one hardware.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions or?
That's all the questions I have.
Okay. Well, again, I appreciate everybody's time and thank you for your interest and wanting to learn more about Cambium Networks. Don can share my contact with you guys if you have any questions that you want to take offline. This presentation will be provided to you, so you will have access to it. And like I mentioned before, anything we can help with, a chat or maybe some engineering questions, or maybe questions about testing and trialing, we always offer starter kits at some sort of a discount to get gear into your hands to test. We're always open to it. So please feel free to always reach out to either myself, Victor, or anybody from Winncom Technologies. Don can put you in contact with to and let us know how we can help. We service a ton of customers in very many different verticals, and we look forward to adding more. And some of you guys that are not familiar with our products, please feel free to ask questions, and so you can get familiarized, and we can start a relationship that can last a long time.
Thank you.
That's all I had. You're very welcome.
Well, thank you to Sergio, and thank you to Victor. As a reminder to our listeners, we'll be sending out an email shortly with all the information you just learned, so please keep an eye out for that. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. And as always, thank you for joining.